joining our webinar. This is our webinar, the first webinar at 7:30 p.m. We're trying to do a different time. Hopefully it works out for some of our viewers. So this is our 12th episode. Just a little bit about why we do this Founder's Diary. Because we understand that building a company can be a lonely journey. While there are definitely joys of entrepreneurship, there are also significant challenges. In our Founders Diary series, we ask founders about what their days look like and reflect on what they discover during the process. So today I'm going to moderate this with my twin brother, Ardi. We started our own company back in 2008, and it's a construction company for telecommunication. And starting 2013, we started to invest in many of the Indonesian technology startups in Indonesia. So today we're gonna moderate about Edutech in supporting learning from home activities of all stakeholders in Southeast Asia. A bit about the speakers. The first one is Alfa Bumhira, CEO and co-founder of ProSpark. ProSpark is a learning management system platform that provides innovative and engaging learning solutions that are customer-centric, needs-based, and results-driven. ProSpark offers key three solutions: ProSpark for enterprises, ProSpark for SMEs, and ProSpark for schools. Our goal is to make learning fun, flexible, and engaging among users. Learn anywhere, anytime. And the second speaker is Tomi Yunus, CEO of and co-founder of Cakap. Cakap is a platform that enables two-way learning interaction between life skill learner and industry experts across Asia Pacific to learn and improve specific skills at their own terms, from anywhere at any time. Cakap provides education solution with international standard learning curriculum to deliver the best online learning experiences. So I would like to welcome Alfa and Tomi. Welcome to our Founders Diary series. So,
Hi
Alpha,
Arya, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, guys.
Hi Alfa.
Hey, brother. How are you, Tomi?
Great, great.
So,
Thank you.
Alpha,
Hi guys.
Let's start with you, Alpha. Can you introduce yourself,
Yes,
where you're from, and about ProSpark?
very good. Okay, so I want to say thank you very much to all our friends at Prasetia for this wonderful opportunity to share with you more about our project here at ProSpark. Myself, I'm moved from Brooklyn, New York. So I came from the States to come to Southeast Asia. And I have been in the region for about 2.5 years now. So I'm still fairly new to the whole Southeast Asia market as a whole. So it's a lot of things to learn. There's a lot of excitement within the region, a lot of young people, a lot of digital revolution going on. So we are contributing to the change in the region by working on ProSpark, which is our e-learning vehicle that's powering both the education sector and also the enterprise clients. So when you think about ProSpark, it's not just only the LMS, the learning management system companies or education institutions can use, but we are also expanding our core within the content space, whereby we're building ProSpark to be the one-stop shop for everything learning and development related for a variety of different clients. So we are focused mostly on Indonesia, but we are also starting to sell in the Philippines, which is an opportunity that came about because of the demand through the COVID disruption. So we have clients requesting for our product, and we to start focusing in some little bit scope within the Philippines market. So Southeast Asia is our main focus, our own base, and we are very happy to be part of the Indonesian community in some shape and form. And we are very excited also to be sharing this platform with Brother Tomi and his team. Very excited to learn more about what they're doing on their end. But for us, I think the vision is simple. We believe that e-learning, edtech is the future of learning. We believe that due to COVID, the market will forever be different. We don't think the traditional ways of doing things will sustain the world for the long term. I think the Indonesian market needs change. Southeast Asia needs change specific to edtech, and we at ProSpark, and I'm sure also Brother Tomi, we share the same vision and view that online engagement, online learning will improve the education standards of Indonesia and beyond. So thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm excited to share our little knowledge we have based on the experience in Indonesia and also beyond. So thank you, Prasetia family, and thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Alfa. So over to you, Tomi. Just a little bit of introduction about yourself and what is Cakap.
Okay, yeah, thanks Arya, Ardi. So thanks for having me. Alfa, it's nice to finally meet you here. So yeah, a bit about me. So I graduated from Bina Nusantara University, and then I had a chance to study abroad in China. So I spent like 6 years, 3 years for completed my master degree in China, and then 3 years work in one of IT company in Beijing. So it was very interesting because when my time in China, there was a booming of Edutech, right? So some players like VIP Kid, 51 Talk, right? They were like advertising very aggressive, and the growth was very fast. And at that time, I was seeing that there wasn't any players yet in Indonesia. So I decided to back to Indonesia in 2015, right? Started my first edutech startup in Indonesia together with my partner Johan. I think he is also joining this webinar. And after a year, I met Arya and Ardi that actually believe in our vision, in our crazy idea. Back then, for your information, back in 2015, actually the internet penetration was very low. To get like a 2 Mbps internet speed, broadband internet, you have to spend like 1 million to get that speed. So actually, it was very crazy idea back in 2015, but thanks to Prasetia as our early backers that continuously supporting our journey until today. And actually, we started the company with the name School Line, starting from 2015 until 2019. So back then, the company was focusing on acquiring students through B2B channels. So we provide language training in a private and a group kind of format to corporate, government, learning institutions, because back then, actually, the response of the market was best through the B2B channels, while the B2C, there were still many boundaries for them to purchase the online learning products. But I think starting from 2018, 2019, even before COVID-19, actually the market has been becoming more mature, right? We've been seeing a lot of infrastructures being built. Last year, the government launched Palaparing, right, where connecting east part of Indonesia to west part of Indonesia with high-speed broadband internet, which actually very positive for us, because if we are talking about edutech solutions, right, edutech apps, right, it will not working without a good internet infrastructure, right? So yeah, it's very interesting to see like the growth of Edutech sector, Edutech market, right? Especially in this year, 2020. So that's I think that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Tommy. So, without further ado, let's just deep dive into the questions. So, the first question: how does COVID affect your industry and company in general? Let's start with Alpha.
Okay, so I'm sure this question for all the founders in this call or anybody calling in, I'm sure they all have had some experience to answer this question in some shape or form. So I think when you think about our industry in general and also our company, of course, it's a mixed bag, right? First, I will highlight the opportunity we see. The biggest opportunity we see is we are now seeing that in specific to the Indonesian market, the market is being self-educated in regards to the benefits of remote access, working from home tools, to have the comfort level of using applications, for example, like this one, right? Discuss or Zoom or Skype. Like it's okay for you to have a meeting remotely. You do not have to meet people in an office. You don't have to be stuck in traffic for 25 minutes or 1 hour just to get to a specific place to say hello to your prospective client. So we are very excited in regards to that sudden shift in behaviors in companies, in organizations, in institutions, and that is already translating to when we are offering our solutions to some of these companies, because well, the challenge they're facing is they haven't trained people in person for a long time, right? And some companies, they have to do compliance trainings because of regulations. They have to onboard new employees. They have to do all these different things. So now we are seeing that the conversation around e-learning, the conversation about remote learning, learning anywhere at any time, it has to be only just in a classroom, which is traditionally what this market is always pushing when I'm speaking more to the enterprise space. So now we're seeing a certain comfort level when we're engaging with the HR directors, business leaders across the enterprise space, that there is a strong appetite now to start thinking about how can you have a blended learning experience within your company, because so that if something like COVID ever happens, at least you don't face a massive disruption within the ecosystem. So we're already saying that, number one. Number two, and also when you think on the education sector, right? Because in Indonesia, well, for example, you have almost 3,800 universities in Indonesia. Not all universities have e-learning. Some don't even have anything, right? Whether it's mostly private or public universities, or even high schools or mid schools. So when the disruption happened, people have to do your homework or teaching and learning via Yahoo email, which is completely unsustainable, right? So what we are seeing also is a conversation on the education sector that schools are just starting to think about the infrastructure. How can they, in the future, invest in more like a robust LMS for the teaching and learning needs, right? And you can also see that shift happening when it comes to the opportunities. Of course, when you think about the deal front from our company, you can say, okay, well, globally, not only Indonesia, but in the region or globally, every major organization, I would say almost all the organizations have to do some form of a pullback from the market, right? Cutting down of capex budgets, limiting in terms of engagement with vendors. So we could see that our deal flow in the pipeline came to more like a very slow rate, right? Because companies are still trying to realize how can they adjust in this sudden shock that has been inhibited and caused by COVID. So we saw a very big withdrawback, but at the same time, we were also seeing a lot of requests coming in from different clients and different entities. Like, hey, I want to know about e-learning. How can e-learning be used in my company? Because now people have to work from home, right? So we, but what we're 4-5 months now in the journey, we're starting to see now a very good, interesting discussion in one of our product segment, which is more like ProSpark for SMEs. We are now seeing a very interesting traction in that area of SMEs looking for basic platforms, to that version, very affordable, basic onboarding platform. Now we're getting those onboarded, and we're seeing a lot of traction in that area space. On the enterprise, we're seeing a very long-term thinking, long-term planning, but we're already seeing some banks and e-commerce companies talking to us in terms of what they should be thinking Q3, Q4, and Q1 into next year. So yes, we are very optimistic and bullish in the outlook for the EdTech e-learning space within Indonesia. We are absolutely bullish in regards to the state of the market in terms of its comfort level, understanding the benefits of e-learning, understanding the return of using e-learning, and understanding the benefits of having a blended learning experience within the enterprise and also at the education sector. So we believe some down the road in 2021, we believe that the EdTech e-learning in Indonesia is going to take off, because I'm having a tough time to even think about, of all the companies in Indonesia, which company will go back to the old norm, whether we say later in COVID, the new norm, or post-COVID. I'm sure every company will look into their IT strategy, their employee engagement strategy. I'm sure there will be a lot of people working from home beyond COVID, because it saves cost, cut down traffic, increase productivity. One of the interesting numbers came from the Indonesian government, that there were some reports that productivity in government employees in Indonesia is actually increased because of working from home, right? So we believe that there's going to be a lot of shift within the HR, human capital function, from learning, from productivity, from engagement, from how they work with their companies, going beyond. Same thing we've seen happening in the US, and countries like Indonesia or South Asia, they're still catching up with developed nations. But we believe this event of COVID, of course, has created a lot of pain for a lot of companies, a lot of people. But for us, we see a big opportunity of growth within the EdTech e-learning space in Indonesia and beyond.
Okay, thank you, Alfa. Since you already answered my question, let me just ask from me as well. Is how do organizations like enterprises and education institutions think through this shift and adapt? Tomi? So basically, how does COVID affect your industry in general, and how does it affect the enterprises?
Yeah, thanks, Arya. So yeah, I agree with Alfa actually, that there is a sudden shock, right? Starting from March until now, right? Even after 3 months, there are still a problem in transforming offline learning activities to online, right? At least in my radar, right? But actually, for several segments, specific segments like A and perhaps B level, actually, I can say 2020, the shifting, it's already there. I mean, I can say the education industry for several segments is already take off. From the industry, how this impacting the industry? Of course, it's in a positive way. It's accelerate the adoption of technology in education industry, right? We know there is a massive offline to online transformation, and I think it's very positive to our company and also to all the Edutech folks in Indonesia, right? For instance, how many there were like thousands of workshops being hosted in hotel, right, in training centers in the big cities, and they have to move to online or they have to stop, right? So I think in short, this is the golden era of edutech sector in Indonesia. So from my side is it's worth waiting. Like starting from 2015, and right now everything is starting to take off. But of course, some negative impact, right? As you know, that actually early this year, our Minister of Education just create a policy to change the national exam, right? And actually, it's create a lot of polemic, and it's not finished yet, but the COVID-19 is already here. So I think it's very interesting. And last month, we know, I mean, based on the data, only schools, right, in the green zone that can be open, right, can do like a face-to-face learning. And I think today I read the news that some schools, right, one school in West Sumatra, for example, it's closed after the first day open, right, because there are 2 teachers are positive coronavirus. So I think it's still there is a uncertainty whether this trend will continue until this year, or perhaps will continue until late 2021, right? So for the education stakeholders, of course, there is a panic situation for all education stakeholders in Indonesia: students, parents, teachers, learning institutions, right, and also corporate. And I think it's because the digital literacy and technology absorption, right, are still relatively low. I can say, especially in the second and the third tier city, right? And for example, 30% of the teachers in Indonesia actually above 50 years old. So can you imagine how this 30% of the teachers can adapt to educate to the technology, right? It will require longer time to use the technology, right? And device problem, as we know, the smartphone penetration, yes, is high, but it's actually like mostly in one family, especially in the second or the third tier city. Perhaps one family only can have like one smartphone or one laptop, which they have to share it with the whole family, right? And also the package data limitation, even though the internet infrastructure is already there, but to purchase the package, right, it's also a problem, right? Because they need to like the spending, the average revenue per user for this package data is also not that high, as we know, right? And offline education stakeholders also impacted, like bookseller, private teachers, right? So Alfa said there are 3,000 to 4,000 university, right? But actually, the total informal tuition centers, right, in Indonesia, it's reaching 300,000. Actually, there are 300,000 informal learning centers, and based on our deep learning, around 80% of them have to stop the operations. So this is very sad, but I think it's positive because they have to, right? They have to learn. They have to move to use the technology. So it's meaning there will be, it will help to accelerate the technology adoption of education, right? So it's very interesting. For example, in our case, we have some new initiatives, some new solution that we have to adjust responding to the COVID-19 condition. For example, we have this 24 hours looping channel, teaching language in Lingua channel that broadcasted in IndiHome and Transvision. And as you know, TVRI right now is also being used to for students, right, to help the learning home learning from activity. So there are more and more solutions actually being pushed, right? The creativity of Edutech players in Indonesia is being pushed, right, to adjust and to create new solutions to the market, right? But specifically for my company, we are very grateful that we can capture most of the opportunities that within our scope of work. And it's actually we experience 32x jump, like compared the same compared to the same period in 2019, which early 2020, and our active users within year 2020 increased more than 500% compared to January to early 2020. So it's I think there are negativity, there are positive things also for edutech players in Indonesia, but the point is we are happy. It's very excited to see that actually we can have the real battlefield, right, to test, to use our technology that has been developed for the last couple of years.
But Tomi, so from the user side, there is an uptick because of COVID. From the partners, there are also an uptick as well because of COVID. But from the B2B customer, is there an uptick as well?
In our side, actually, I can say it's stable, but we are getting more requests recently from B2G part, right? I mean, we have some initiatives, some program together with Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of ICT, right, to actually create a fully online language class. So we are, for example, we are targeting location with tourism spots, right, in more than 28 provinces in Indonesia. So actually, recently we are getting more and more requests from the ministries, but B2B, I can say it's stable.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Question from one of the audience, from Gracie. Can we have some example of e-learning that Alfa is referring to? Alfa,